Following his birth at Day Kimball Hospital, David Breault's trip home was all of 100 yards, directly across the street. That house was purchased from the Breault family by a doctor and is still used by Day Kimball today. Could this have been an omen of things to come? The three children of Roger and Patty, David, Bobby, and Kim, were all separated by 1 year. According to David, he was reserved, while his siblings were the extroverts. This would explain Bobby's remark when he learned of David's acceptance onto Putnam High School's Wall of Honor. He always succeeded by riding my coattails. Unless you are French and come from Putnam, Breault is not always easy to pronounce, but David's grandfather attempted to make things easier by often spelling his name B-R-O. So when David was 8 years old, he traveled to Northeastern University to watch Uncle Alan play football. While strolling across campus to the stadium, a friendly student walked by David and said, "Hi, little bro, how's it going?" Confused, David looked up at his mother and asked, "How did he know my name?" By the time he got to and through Putnam High, students and staff most assuredly knew David Breault. As a student, class officer, playing an instrument, or serving as drum major, he excelled, and he still treasures his memories and recollections of PHF staff members, like returning to his roots to deliver the eulogy at Kathy Pritchard's funeral service. As a 15-year-old on a trip to Greece, he marveled at how Louise Pempek managed to get 15 students onto the return plane to the United States with only 14 passports. From guidance counselor Al Cormier's vacant office, he and some buddies repeatedly and anonymously called WINY radio, where they delivered a message emanating from a laughing bobblehead doll.
Some kid had given me this small head of a clown, and if you pressed on the top of the clown, this thing would just laugh, and then would stop, and they'd press it again. So whatever the issue was in town around that time, there must have been about 10 in my office. They pressed it and called the radio station, which has the talk show every day. It's just, this thing started laughing, and the people in the radio station couldn't figure out what was happening.
It ended in a hurry when Mr. Cormier returned unexpectedly. Rumor has it that the penalty required David to lead the band by Al's house on their way to practice for the benefit of the Cormier kids. And the never-forgotten advice from Principal Barry Parker when David made an assumption. Dr. Parker stopped him cold and with chalk in hand wrote the word assume on the board. He then drew 2 lines through the word and stated, "Never assume. It just makes an ass out of you and me." After Putnam High, it was on to Trinity College in Hartford with no specific career goal in mind. However, his friendship with some pre-med students and a liking for biology piqued his interest. After surviving his first semester with B's and C's, the A's returned, and so did his confidence. "I can do this." He accompanied a friend to a lab where rats were being decapitated to examine their brains, and there was no turning back. As he states, "I gained the keys to the castle, and the path to becoming an endocrinologist, though long and difficult, was successfully traversed." David's interest in music continued at Trinity, where he was a member of the chapel singers. He also gained access to the Trinity Chapel and its famed organ, where he sometimes sought nighttime refuge from the daily grind, disrupting the still of the late night hours by banging out some ear-ringing notes. From Trinity, it was on to UConn Med and Grad School, Yale, and the Harvard School of Medicine, leading to the current title of Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Harvard, with advanced studies related to stem cell research, and the title of Dr. David Breault. While at Yale, A Dr. Rose stated, "By far and away, David Breault is the best, well-rounded, critical thinking, hardworking, focused, and mature graduate student I have ever had."
The detail that these folks talk about relative to, say, his advisor at Yale who had worked with kids for 25 years, David was like the best that he had come across, the most, understood. He was able to take it to a next level. To me, that's stuff that I, as a guidance counselor from his high school days, would never have known.
Nothing came easy to David. He had to work really hard for everything. He wasn't just a genius or really a brainiac. He had to work very, very hard for everything he ever got. So for us, it was more rewarding for him.
The aptly named Breault Lab at Boston Children's Hospital is just one honor of many that David has received. Other honors, achievements, publications, and awards are equally noteworthy, but too numerous to mention.
There's this woman that works for a Bank of America or something. She has a little boy who's probably 16 now, and he's a toddler, and he gets juvenile diabetes. So she has money and connections, so she goes all over the world to find someone to take care of her child, and she's not happy with anybody. And the little boy's not happy with anybody, so they find this one person, like in California, it's far away, and they say, "Why are you here when you have like the best endocrinologist in Boston where you're from?" So she comes back and she meets David, and the kid falls in love with David, is in his arms and embracing him, and the woman couldn't be happier.
But the highlight of his professional life to date was his 2011 trip to the White House to receive the Presidential Early Career Award for scientists and engineers. While on a private tour of the facility, the group was directed to watch the Marine One helicopter land on the ground. President Obama emerged, saluted, and jogged into the building. The president gave them a pep talk with a message that it was mandatory that they continue along this successful path of valuable research. As he took a moment to shake hands with the recipients, David used the opportunity to inform the chief that it would probably take time to attain the future success he had spoken about. President Obama replied, "I'm also hoping for more time, like 4 more years."
The recognition that he's receiving not only in this country at the White House, but he's been delivering, the result of his research all over Europe and probably other places too, for that matter. So in order to have invitations to come to these conferences where the best in the world gather to share information, to me says a great deal.
Somehow, along the way, he managed to set aside enough time to court and wed Kate in 1996. Together, they have raised 2 sons, Harry, a student at Haverford in Pennsylvania, and Sam, an 11th grader at Concord Academy in Massachusetts. Home for the Breaults is in Newton, Mass. His high school guidance counselor stated, "The respect that his Harvard students have for him speaks volumes of his accomplishments," and added, "David is a role model that Putnam High School students will emulate." A tribute that is obviously well-deserved and will, along with the others whom we recognize tonight, be a permanent reminder to those students who follow on Putnam High School's Wall of Honor.